Michael, can you hear me now? I'm so sorry. Thank you. Thank you. I've been doing this whole thing. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it, Janet. All right. So, yeah, I download new drivers and it doesn't work, but then I realize what I'm doing wrong. So, apologies for no audio. Speaking into the wind here. All right, I'll do an abridged version. I had a detailed one that I just went through, but I have posted in Market Thoughts. It's going to be intense, right? Next 2 weeks, I talk about QRA. I post the breakdown of the composition of the QRA, but it is not told yet until 8:30 Wednesday morning. That could be market moving. This is just how much they have to cover. Yellen has to cover the fiscal deficit. So that is what you're looking for, plus Thursday morning jobless claims, plus Friday morning non-farm payrolls, Mag 5 reports this week, obviously. And this is really all about the election and FOMC next week, but we really don't have likelihood of an outcome on Tuesday, the 5th, midnight, like usual. It'll probably be a few days later because it's contested. Unfortunately, market probably won't like that. But a lot of folks are already positioned with their puts. You can tell by high skew, right? They're positioning with VIX, which means there's going to be a heck of an unwind in that VIX after all of this is done, which is that kind of left tail, right tail I talk about further down, but with the hedges coming off, it could be rocket fuel for equities, although lots of people are looking at that right now. We have Bitcoin moving higher. Lots of that is also expected. So some of this stuff really is momentum, and it will be driven by lots of folks looking at the same thing, right? So right now they're looking at protection for the unknown. After that unwinds, we likely go higher into year end, et cetera, et cetera. The Japanese elections haven't stopped this freight train of dollar yen going up with US yields. US yields are moving higher into 4.33. As I mentioned, the sweet spot was 3.8 to 4.2. That's Goldilocks for equities. We get too hot or too cold, it's not good for equities. So remember when we were at 3.62 on September 18th, the pre-market for Fed Day, I said time for a yield spike. A lot of that was honestly just the dance of knowing how the bond market and equities move. But the other part was positioning. And I felt very strongly, and I made the case that positioning would now cover. And sure enough, they cut 50 basis points, and we had a very large move from 3.62 into this 4.3 arena. I still think we'll stay below 4.3, what did I say, 68? So that's my baseline bet. But yeah, 4.37. Anyway, the point is right now it's very unusual, very unusual. Most people don't understand that bonds are going down with oil. And Jeffrey understands and explains that. He says in monetary dominance, both oil and yields come down from the same source. But in fiscal dominance, there's just way too much supply on the Treasury side. Thank you very much, Janet Yellen. While there's less demand for dollar and Treasury. So we already know foreign buyers of Treasuries are going down, 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 down. And less demand for petrodollar and oil. As a result, oil price is falling as yields are rising. That's fiscal dominance. Right, straightforward. That plus positioning, plus all the recession bets, right, that were pulled out on the bond bid. So you got a whole, and the dollar yen still moving higher. So dollar yen moving higher, and equities in the sweet spot with recession fears getting pulled out after the Fed started cutting, which creates easing and less conviction needed on, oil being that kind of trigger for yen carry trade. We got many reasons, but I contend if it gets above 4.37, we're going to get in the hot seat again. So they're going to try and tap that down. And that's exactly QRA Wednesday morning, FOMC Thursday at 2 p.m. next week. In that period of time, I think that's when we will start to see a reversal in bonds get supported, in other words. Jobs matter. I was just talking about how, yeah, hurricane's going to hit this, and the algos might go wild for a, half hour or an hour Thursday morning, Friday morning. But the reality is that this is weather related job hit. We really, really need to have the trend show weakness or strength of the economy. That's a durable hit to unemployment, not just weather that is temporary. So we know lots of data is coming out. I'm not as interested in JOLTS, if truth be told. The hurricane will also have a hit on GDP, but none of these are going to be economic trends as much as they are weather related. So kind of keep that in mind. Yeah, we got earnings, tons, and this is important. We get some really, really excited results. And the question, of course, is AI. How much will it lead us higher? My price target's higher. You've got Hans's Meta options play. You already have my ongoing NVIDIA options play. The Tesla options play was just gorgeous. But many are starting to talk about after the election wobble, which I wrote about last week, and the Japanese elections, which I wrote about last week. And then after that, covering all these hedges. So I put together research on, sky's the limit, right? So much bullish analysis out there, just like Bitcoin moving higher right now. Come on, who did not see that? Even I saw that. And I don't even like Bitcoin. But anyway, the Mara, the MSTR, the coin, the CLSK, you name it, they're all moving higher this morning like hot fire flames. And that's all part of that excitement, momentum, liquidity higher. They're not using Bitcoin as a hedge, right? They're using VIX as a hedge. They're using SPY puts, etc. But when all that stuff gets unwound, the expectation is, even if this is quant speak, definitely take a look. This is what I was talking about before I realized I had no mic. You will see that there's going to be a lot of FOMO priced in after the unwind, right? So moving higher, and that's what I wrote about a few weeks ago. Can market move higher with sky high skew? Sure can. Anyway, there's some data I dumped in here about volatility controlled funds, again, supporting this whole boom, boom, boom. We've got the left tail with calls being cheaper, et cetera, et cetera. We've got seasonality. I posted some charts about that. Bullish bent about next year statistics. Anyway, the long story short, take a look. Take a look. Macro events this week. That's the tail risk I'm talking about. CTA positioning, the Treasury update. No, that's seasonality. Yeah, that's seasonality. We got lots to go, but we also definitely have Bitcoin plays in play. So let's take a look at that real quick before we finish this. And the market opens in a minute. A dollar is very firm, pushing above 104.5. With gold, I might add, still perky. We got a little shake and bake, which we've had for a while, right? This is a grind, man. This is Qs and this is SPY, and they don't know what they're going to do as they hold off into the election. And I call it mean reversion. Like, I'm not surprised if we come back 3% from the highs. It's not a big deal, but this is a big deal, right? Not oil falling. I just talked about that. With less demand for treasuries and dollar and oil prices falling. But this is big time for me. We get back above that 3.67. I think we will see volatility. I'm not expecting that, right? 4.33 expected. I wrote about that yesterday, but 4.367, 368, I think is going to be a new ball game. All right, hit me up in Zoom Q&A if you have any questions. Mara and all the rest are going to be the big ones that are playing out on the Bitcoin proxies. Oil is still very soggy, and Mag 7 earnings will dictate what happens with this ratio, which is Mag 7, literally, right? And it's pushing higher. And I said it could push all the way up to 131, 132 area. It wouldn't surprise me before the market is done. Dollar yen pushing higher. That's also helping yields to push higher. The whole 9 yards. So I talk about that. I write about that. That's it. Bitcoin proxies. Got a little shake and bake here. First thing in the morning in market, but not in Bitcoin. There we go. I don't know why this is doing this. Yeah, that's going to be a dramatic kind of move. And we're getting hit with NVIDIA. Back down to 140, lots of shake and bake. There's your gold. Oil is still strong, Don Pardo. right? So the trend is still your friend. And this is where volatility starts to kind of pay attention. We go back in with this ratio down below 1. Look at that. It's toying with it. We will have volatility. Yes, we will. We will have shake and bake. So I gave that level already, and even though we have liquidity, a reversion down to the 10-week is what is my baseline bet. And Bitcoin breaking out, look at, you have above 0, bullish. You've got this divergence here, which is a double top in my indicator. It stopped going down. It formed an inverse head and shoulder. It's fighting this green thick crayon here of about 67.5. And now it's pushing 71,000 and everybody's pounding their chest, but it's kind of like a wedge breakout, pretty expected, but now it's got to follow through. And this is my growth value rotation, which I showed yesterday. It tagged 2.01, poked above, came back in, and now it's above again. So you're in that kind of, okay, NVIDIA's soggy. I'm sorry, the market's soggy with NVIDIA because NVIDIA isn't going higher. The market's kind of soggy, and look at Abercrombie. I don't know why this expanded. So annoying because I had to restart my computer. That's why. Okay, that's not what I want. There we go. So what we have is, right, the NVIDIA is getting soggy down to that 136. Did I give that level yesterday? Yes, I did. I wrote it up in Market Thoughts, and I said it would not surprise me one bit if we do a mean reversion in the markets into Friday down to 136 NVIDIA. Same. MSTR was already a freak of nature, very extended. Coin, fabulous, just a gorgeous. I know my voice gets like, oh. It's the purple line, okay? So this is a gorgeous dump that MSTR short, and it's holding this 100 finally. It took a while, but it did hold. And then we basically have this 212.22 it needs to get and stay above. And you can kind of see GBTC is moving higher, right? These are all the Bitcoin proxies. Mara is so slow to launch, but it still looks really good to me. Also has, what did I say, 30% short interest when I proposed that back on the 18th. Yes. Valaro and PBF and refiners are getting decimated on British Petroleum releasing their earnings, and they had their worst earnings in margins in 4 years. So we're talking they're not making any money right now compared to what they used to. Very, very sad. So that didn't work one bit. Okay, so we got a big hit also in home builders coming right back down into that 116. TAN isn't holding together. It's just they're just buying Bitcoin, right? This is potential though. Still, if we can hold this trend line, we might get some action. But for the most part, VIX is toying first thing this morning above 1929, and it's just, I don't know any other easier way. It's hard because it keeps going around this 1929, but above market bearish, below market bullish, and it just hit 20.5. It's been here before. If it gets rejected, you know what to do. Right now, it looks a little bit too firm, and I say that because we've got VIX in backwardation right now. So this is not by the market. No, it's not by the market. But I went through this yesterday with the indicators, right? This was already showing some pretty big divergences, and you can see the red on your screen. That means breadth is breaking down. And the reversion to the mean is way the heck up here. So breadth is breaking down. You can see it a little bit in the indices, maybe yeah, we're already at the what do you call it, reversion here, but we're not at the reversion to the mean on this guy. Where's my line? Okay, so remember I said the first time we tag, the second time we break. So what you're looking for, and I posted this yesterday, I posted this last week and we went right into it, right? That's easy. That is exactly where we broke out. We're going to retest it. It's the 21, we get a bounce. Next time we break, and we're going to head down to the 10-week. So I literally posted that. This is the reversion. The 10-week is, let's call it 57.27. Right now, it's 57.27. 57.30, I think, is what I posted last night. Make sense? I'm so sorry the audio wasn't working. Ah, but yeah. But the good news is I wrote about all this stuff already. So you got Bitcoin moving higher, you got the SPY and Qs reversion to the mean, and that means likely this Friday. So the reversion for the Qs would be 486.86. The great way to tell right now we're in a bubble, We're in a Bollinger Band squeeze. We need to break this 494, and then 493, because remember that was the gap up. And so all we're doing is we're tagging 493. So 493 is definitely getting hit. We need to break 493 to roll over. We had some big selling in PayPal afterwards. This is true. But the big dump, let's go through earnings. Big old head and shoulder in Crocs. Yeah, that's not looking so great. Let me just put this over here. But it's on. Sorry, Allah. He's got too many now. All right, so that's that. Boom, boom, boom. Ah, that's what I need to do. All right, there we go. Sorry, hold on. All right, Abercrombie has come back down to this trend line. It is starting to break it. Here's the 50-week, and here's more likely where it heads down to this 122.25 for those who are playing this rollover. Crocs is now at the 100-week, so this is where it would likely kind of start to digest. We had DH Horton come back in very strongly this morning, all the way back down to the 50-week. This is where it's gotten defended in the past, but I would let it fall. It wouldn't surprise me at all if it comes all the way back down to 145. PayPal was gorgeous, but then it hit monthly. Remember that the 82 was monthly. Then last night we had, I don't know, after hours excitement here in the 86, 87, 86 area. Now look at it. It's a mess. So this was the mean. And I talked about this yesterday coming back down into 76.5. It is. So that's where you protect. So literally I said, okay, I have no idea what it's going to do for earnings, but that's monthly. If it doesn't hold here or you want to protect your longs, this is where you protect too, because it'll come right back down here. It's 3 levels of support, the 100-week, the 10-week, and a weekly. So literally the 10-week is 76.52. The 100-week is 76.23. You get the idea. Okay. Oh. So PayPal protect to 76. Palantir, a little shake and bake sideways, not a lot to get excited about. Square, same thing, sideways for the most part. NVIDIA, 140. Doesn't surprise me. This is the shake and bake from the prior high. I still think this looks absolutely headed to 136 this week. Meta has earnings to the close tomorrow. Amazon the next day with Apple. Qs are only down 0.2%, not a big deal. These are just really, they're waiting for something totally wicked awesome. And I would say Microsoft after hours would be the kind of AI tell for today anyway. Let's see. Tesla hit that. Oh my God, did that hit? So remember this weird situation where I said, okay, the 250 is the calls if you want to just kind of let those run. This was last Thursday morning. But it needs to stay above 237 to make it into 271. It actually hit 273. Geez, now it makes a lot of sense for it to calm down here. I don't see it exploding higher above that 271 because that is monthly. But you can also see how the market's not really falling apart this morning, is it? Right? Google is still green. Taiwan Semiconductor is still green. Right. And China names are coming back down because they're just not going to have any other reason to move higher, right? Boom, down. So repo madness in China is not catching on enough with the crowd, with the retail crowd. MSTR is giving some back, but silver is moving fine. Gold is moving fine. GDX got hit last week on Newmont, but it is benefiting from higher underlying. Just remember, this is a channel, so coming back down isn't a surprise. It is a channel. McDonald's had earnings, so it actually came all the way back down to 286. 286, and that is where it was a pre-market. You can't see it here because it's erased. But that's where it was pre-market on this dump. It actually came all the way back down to 286. This 100-day bounced, and then made kind of a name for itself here at 290. It is holding, really, really trying to hold this 290, but I don't feel like that's going to hold. Eventually, this is going to head down to 279.50, but it's not right now. Not right now. All right, so McDonald's earnings out of the way. Hans had a fly on that. DHI getting a little bit of a support here. That's not a surprise. It's actually, it needs another week, but it probably wouldn't. This Keltner channel with the 50 likely gets defended. Okay. Dollar yen moving higher is definitely helping for yen to move lower and interest rates here to move higher. And I did say this 91 territory interests me. I saw yesterday some massive, actually, they're here again. December 1, there were $90.50 and also $92 calls that came in, 50,000 contracts, looked like a spread. I'm not sure if they were buying or selling, but the point is, and they didn't come in together, but they've come back in for some more 90.50. This is the bottom of the Bollinger, the Keltner channel, and I said 91.32 area, right? 91.35. QRA tomorrow morning. This is where I think the bond bulls get defended. That's where I think the bond bulls get defended, is right in this neck of the woods. We still haven't finished. It's not safe, but that's what I'm still expecting. Can you see how it's like the Keltner channel is right here? Yeah, so that's baseline bet. This is on a monthly. Yeah, we'll go over VFC and GLW. Yes, hold on. So that was a nice double support. The best place to actually buy it would be once it gets back above 92.70. But I know some are still kind of excited about this overshoot. We'll see. I would really, really like for it to stop going down and start to move higher. And then this will start to cross over. But right now it's still not safe. $90.94 is quarterly support. All right. So we'll see. Let's just see. It's too big of an expansion candle for me to say it's done going down, period. So what I really like is to look at the, heck is that? Other yields. We got the 13-week are going nowhere. We know the 5-year has moved up strongly, pretty much the top of the Keltner channel where it broke down. And also the 10-week. $200. All right, so we're top of the Keltner, but we're not at the 4.3. We hit the 4.3. That's pretty obvious. We got 4.3 everywhere. All right, now Yeah, we got 4.33 on all types of time frame, daily, quarterly. It's crazy. But the monthly is 4.36. So that's why I'm still not completely expecting this to just roll over right here. It's going to be a tussle. Maybe we overshoot and then come back down. But clearly the 10-year has moved very sharply higher. Oil has moved very sharply lower. I would wait still, but this is so far the 4.33 area, right? Lots of levels, 4.33, but it's all the same thing. We're at a resistance level. Let's see if it sticks. Congratulations. Client Ann had recommended this and asked me to look at it. Fiber optics, data centers, really 100-year-old company. Josh Brown even came in here when it pulled back exactly. But the point is, gorgeous chart. I was very excited about this. I said, yep, I think this is actually the gap fill. It's going to get defended. And sure enough, it did. And it went from 39 to 50 and change. GLW, gorgeous. Congrats. All right, so that has been swing long recommendation. There are Mara member has 20% short interest. I don't even think this has started yet. That was September recommendation. GLW was way the heck back here. LAC is lithium. It's just a low priced play that's definitely getting a boost. VFC, very different creature. Look at that. All right, that's impressive. So VFC is manufacturing of apparel, and that's up. Just there's no other way to put it. There's a hell of a reversal candle. So if you're into that, keep it above 20, please. Keep it above 20. You'd be fine above 20. Coin is slow to launch, but it's above 212.22. That's all that matters. This AG, which was Brian recommended, oh my God, did he nail that? So when this came back down, he bought this. I mean, literally. And then it turned sharply higher. He had a particular thesis for it, though. This thing has been continuing beautifully. So here's the problem. We're at resistance again. We've been up here once, twice. Is the third time a charm? I don't know, but it's got to get above 807 to, you know, continue to shine. I just want to throw this on real quick. And that's going to be a little impressive if it does. This is your channel, basically. Coming back down to 737 would not surprise because that's a gap fill, right? You know how I am about those gap fills. Getting above 807, then we'll revisit. But AG looks also fabulous. AG above 807, but it wouldn't surprise me if it hits 737 first. GLW working beautifully, but extended. PayPal already talked about defending. Sorry. GLW talked about defending PayPal to that 76 area. That's exactly where it's headed. I don't see, I'm looking for any option flow here. Hold on one second. Yeah, hit me up in, ooh. So did you play that one, Archna? It's huge, but it's right at the top of the Bollinger Band. I mean, that is obviously quite a look. Hold on, I want to get rid of that. I didn't have this one on my radar, not one little bit. I know, look at this. I'm sorry. All right. That's it. 249 is literally the prior high. Impressive, huh? Yeah, Rithika, please, please let Jeffrey know. I will as well. All right. Pfizer is not going anywhere. I'm worried about this one. I really don't like this one. I know I've said that before. There's if Trump gets elected and RFK comes into power to do whatever, you know, make America healthy again means, these pharma companies, these major drug manufacturing companies, these major fertilizer companies, these major ag, food, pharma, health, they're all in trouble. Get out. I don't think this is alone. I just don't think, I think it's gonna, I think it's gonna have some pressure in time. Obviously not right away. Could be dead wrong. Maybe they've got something in the pipeline that's amazing, but like Merck, look at that rollover. And that is one that I would absolutely have targeted, but it was already rolling over as Alexandra posted about the new Keytruda Busters. It sounds like Ghostbusters, but it has a lot to do with cancer and eating some of their market share. So I just don't like these plays. Ah, I really don't. I don't know why Moderna is popping up, if truth be told, except that it's oversold and sometimes it does this thing. But big picture, I can't get excited about these vaccine players in any way, shape, or form, or big drug manufacturers in any way, shape, or form. A trade maybe, but not as a safety, not as a play if there's that whole, Trump RFK contingency coming into view. I'm sorry. I think it's more risk than the reward. Give me something else. Give me something else. Oh no, Mahesh, I don't know if you're in the room. When I say buy, okay, when I say sell now, buy later, maybe I'm not making sense here, but it means that we're going to have some shake and bake, right? And then we're going higher. So I'm not expecting much more. I don't know how the election's going to go. I don't know, but I'm just saying I don't expect much more than this 10-week retested. So, and we're not even selling. But here, let me show you my other indicators that are more important here as it relates to underneath the surface, what's happening, right? Hold on, let's bring this over. Oh my God, I hate this thing. All right, let's get rid of this. Boom. All right, so these are the internal indicators that I like to use. Big picture, right? So we had a buy trigger on most recent. It goes all the way back. Here's November 1st. But the point is, September 11th, why NVIDIA makes the market. And the market, if you can see, Qs are in that teal, white, and then this indicator, which is cumulative volume, buying, selling. Look at it, it's down 0.05. That's not a lot. That's not a lot. But when it turns red, look what happens up here. It rolls over. It's still rolling over. This indicator's rolling over. So Qs aren't rolling over so much and SPY's not rolling over so much, but it tells me that there is still selling underneath the surface. It's come in and it triggered on the 24th, which is last Thursday, and it's still going on. That's what I mean by, okay, just sell now and then buy later once it turns around. What the heck's with a little thingy? And then also, this is advanced decline, the cumulative 4-week new high, new low is absolutely rolling over. Look at this, right? So Friday, 10/18, when did I write my buy now, sell now, buy later thing? Wednesday, the 23rd. So this turned over on the 18th, and this has been in sell mode, and it's still kind of doing its thing 1 week later. We're not in buy mode. That's all it means. These are kind of indicators of weakness underneath the surface. Hopefully that makes some sense. This one, however, NASDAQ advanced decline isn't really, I showed this yesterday. It's, but it's still green. Not very conclusive. Why? Because we got Mag 5, right? We got Tesla and Amazon and Apple and all the reports. But this one is very clear. This is advanced decline and it's rolling over. So all I'm saying is that right now we're in a sell now, buy later. We haven't stopped reverting to the mean. Hopefully that makes some sense. And the most strong, bad English, but you know what I mean? The strongest is clearly the Mag 7. They don't want to give up. They just don't want to give up. But the rest of the market, underneath the surface, I see weakness. It's temporary for most intents and purposes, right? It means that we have some positioning in that 10-year yield, which is pushing higher. We've got the move index, which is also full of drama. And they're nervous, yelling on the 31st, election on the 7th, 5th, FOMC on the 7th. They're nervous. So they're selling underneath the surface. They're selling now, but then what happens? They're going to buy later. It's crazy. But this is actually healthy. That's why I said floundering is healthy. So anyway, we've got fast forward. Keep going, keep going. It's the Trump stuff. It's not political. It's like you have to consider what if, I know he's talking big, I'm going to hit Iran, but is it talk? What if there is settlement, armistice, whatever you want to call it, then there's going to be some peace and likely there will be no trouble with Iran because he gives Putin peace. I don't know, that Putin power, but all of this is all macro stuff. So this is also the risk that we're looking at of continuation of escalation, Israel, Ukraine. So all I'm saying is those are considerations on a macro front. But this right now is still coming in, I would say, to mean reversion plays, which I write about. And then once we get through the next 2 weeks, I think we're going to go hit that one more high. That's my baseline bet. Okay. I got to go find my option flow here. Yeah. So 271, really nice level. Now it comes back down. PayPal, did it hit the 76? It didn't, but it came really close, 76.81. I really thought 76 and a half. I think that's still going to be an area for support. Look at pre-market. 73. Yeah. Why 73? Got 74.40 right there. Yeah, this is likely going to still come back down a little bit. So Gilead coming back in at that resistance level, not a surprise. Tesla coming back in at that 271, 273, not a surprise. These are pretty big monthly areas. TLT still doesn't seem like it's done, but it does like that Keltner channel support, which is exactly the Keltner channel weekly support, 91.19. Now, what's the low of this candle? 91.07. So that's, got to really get back above 92.70. That would be safer. Yep, XLP is rolling over into that 79.71. LV is also, it moved into the trend line with an overshoot to 148. And XLU hasn't even come back down to the 55. So that's still in play, this one. This XLU is still weak. So what are they doing? They're going out of these defensive plays, even XLU. And I know this sounds weird, but that's bullish for semis. It's just what it is. All right, MDB coming back in needs to get above. Look at that. Oh, it's trying. Snow. Yeah, no. It keeps making these, right? Lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. Every single bounce gets sold. This is still support. It needs to get through, right? Like the 124 and stick that landing. It's trying to get above the 10 and 21. That one's trying to get above the 10 and 21. Team looks better. I still like the ones that have broken above it already. Team, Docu, right? Twilio, PayPal's going to get defended. Strangely not worried about that one. Look at the IPO plays. Yep, they're definitely Upwork. You had mentioned Upwork before. Massive reversal candle. Held the 1230, pushing into 1330. Crowd's trying. Yeah, all of these China plays are still working either through the 10 week or on their way still back to the 10 week. They're mean reverting. Nothing has changed. There's nothing bullish yet in the K-Web space. I got to go back over here. That's too messy for me. Not a lot of selling. Ugh. Not a lot of selling. Let's see what else we got here. Whoa, we had a solid bounce. Hold on. SVXY. Still digesting. Look at that. It's getting tighter and tighter. Look at that. Neutral. This is such a grind. This middle of the road, totally neutral, no edge. This just keeps snaking sideways, right? Absolutely no edge. It's going to get tighter and tighter where the moves are actually likely to get decided very soon. Look at that 100, that 100 week is holding as this is kind of slowly catching down, but nothing yet, absolutely nothing yet. And BXM is just still in distribution. We have nothing. We have nothing here. SPX is still sitting on 58.15. Worst we get is this 57.30 tag of the 10 week, this week or next. So far, nothing wants to sell. Advanced decline sitting on the 10 week. Advanced decline of NASDAQ well above the 10 week. Breadth is still selling, but not aggressively. And volume, they were selling 0.05. It's now 0.03. There's just no energy. There's just no energy. Problem is they don't have any reason to sell, right? They don't have any reason to buy. So we're waiting for all the things that I just talked about because the next 2 weeks are just bloody intense. So let's see what we have. This is the dollar on a 2-hour chart, 100.2. That bull flag, it held the 102.8, moved all the way up to the 103.5. Next level I had was basically this 104.20, overshot, got below, overshot, tag. Oh, it's still pushing. It's really a strong dollar move. And we already know about the yields, but they made most of their move already pre-market with the dollar yen. And now it's kind of sitting here with a doji. Yeah, it is what it is. The oil is weak. Fiscal dominance, thank you very much. Dollar and yields are not, but specifically yields on a falling oil complex is not usual and customary, except in fiscal dominance. All right, so big picture, we're just chop, chop, chop in this 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the fifth, or it's only, Tuesday, but it's the fifth green on this weekly candle, but it's getting smaller. And that crack ETF took out 32.5. So we got to get back above it before anything is bullish. Nat gas is going nowhere fast. But yeah, bonds, this is the 2-year and the 10-year side by side. They just keep, heading down, heading down. This would be a major area of support. But unfortunately, the 2-year doesn't have any major support until this 101.80, 187. So that is a while here to get there. So I'm not so expecting that anytime soon, but the 10-year is definitely closer. So this was the September 18th Fed day, 50 basis point cut. Your 2-year, same thing. Here's your Fed day, 50 basis point cut. And then here's a 10 and 2-year yield curve, still above zero. Banks love it, cheap and steep. Mag 7 ratio, not going down. We got earnings, not going anywhere until we get through earnings. Dollar yen is definitely helping the market stay bid with yields and chop, chop, chop. Nothing here. No, nothing here. In other words, there's yuck. No edge today. Had to kind of already continue to stay long on gold and silver. We have election risk to gold and silver, and I posted that last week when I did my Trump macro trade write-up, because you got to think about it. It's one of those things. If we do have that as a conclusion, but there's no way I believe we're going to get an answer by midnight on Tuesday. So we got plenty of time for gold and silver to run up until then. The strength of that move was quite powerful. This is the dollar and yield ratio. We're getting very extended, right? So we get back above, we move higher in dollar and yield ratio because dollar and yields are very firm right now. So we're getting a little extended. I'm still waiting for a reversal. I haven't seen it. That's one to go long bonds, specifically TLT, that I know many have traded successfully with big gains this year. That has to come back down. That's all there's to say about that, right? Chop fest with NVIDIA, hence that finance call spread is just sitting there for December because I don't want to have to deal with all the chopping that's going on. And we just got recovered, like literally, that was in backwardation for a hot minute and got right back up. Liquidity is fine. So that's kind of a tell that we don't have an issue still. And then, of course, Bitcoin is just everyone's chasing 71,688 right now. Everyone's seeing or hoping it follows through into, oh goodness. I've seen estimates for 118, 125. So that's not taking anything away from gold and silver. Gold has well outperformed, gold and silver have well outperformed Bitcoin, but now because they've run so much, next Bitcoin, it's getting the treatment and it's already, I didn't put this in here, but it already did its double tag of the 50-week. And remember this crossover above the 50 and 200. It should not be so easy. More likely it kind of tests this breakout, but it did get above. It tested the 20, got above. So you can see it also here, growth getting a nod above that line, and you can see it also in MACD. So growth is in the house, and we know that because of Bitcoin and Mag 7, and the markets aren't falling apart, and oil is. Yields are extended into that 4.33, but they could get as high as 4.37 for the 10-year. And then I think that will be a much, much stronger place for a rejection, but we have got to get through the next intensity of the next 2 weeks. But so far, nothing else has changed. Bitcoin is running. Everybody sees it. Yep, yep, yep. Let me do this one. All right, I'm just going to go over some earnings right now. Oh, I'm so lost in this little thing. I can't tell you. Oh, okay. All right, let's go over some earnings. Well, we have pretty much the same old, right? We know Bitcoin is running. We know silver and gold are still in play. We know that some software names are doing better than others, and we're waiting for Mag 7 to report. I am still bullish on semis. So it really hasn't done anything wrong. VIX is not right now a factor. And the markets, even if they sell, they're still getting bid back up. I am shocked that didn't take out 493 right now. So we need more. We need more, right? So we're getting supported here in the short term, but when we break 493, we'll have a much better target. But look at this. Look at the week. Green, green, green on the screen. It's crazy. Nothing else except some earnings to go over since XLP, XLV, XLU are still coming in, meaning down, filling in the spots. Mean reverting has not even taken place. Last week we had a shake and bake and still closed green. That's how strong the bloody market is. And that's also testament to skew rising as folks reach for VIX calls and SPY puts. XLU is, like I said, still rolling over. It's the one kind of source of funds that we haven't seen pull back in any way, shape, or form, let alone 77 or 75 and change. So that's kind of the last one to fall. All right, we had TLT trying to bounce. We had Redbook weekly sales, monthly home prices for August. Also DHI breaking down to the 50-week. Job openings a little bit less for September. And that's at 10:30. Expected anyway to have a little bit less than September. And then at 1 o'clock, we have the Treasury and the 7-year notes. And 4:30, we have the API weekly inventory. All right, let's go take a look at AMT. So pre-market, I'm just going to go over some earnings and then hit me up if you want me to take a look at anything else. Okay. AMT, a REIT. Also, some of these REITs have been getting bid back up on hold, kind of data center excitement. Earnings this morning isn't winning at any awards. It's right back down into breakout level of 218.79 with a little bit of an overshoot. So head and shoulders right here. Looks like it wants to continue down to 205. So careful on AMT. SBAC also came and did earnings out of the way, hit that 250, came back into the 55-day. They still look okay. Not great, but okay. ATI is a metal fabricator. This had been recommended. Get that. Come on. There we go. This has been recommended as a trend long a while ago, and it does have some shake and bake, but you can see how it continues to move higher, pulls back, moves higher, gets a little excited here, and then gets, of course, the treatment, Fed pause, yell and Yahtzee. And then you can see, right, it has a digestion phase, and then it keeps going higher. So earnings, it's coming back down into the 50. See the 50, it's that yellow. And it could overshoot the 50. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes down to 53. But then take a look, because ATI will probably get defended at 53. If you want to protect, if you're trend long, I would protect more than 53 because that's assumed. I would protect all the way down to 48. Crocs tanked in this head and shoulder, which is not great. Consumer play here, August 5th, formed really, I mean, Abercrombie, Crocs, they're all kind of forming these big old reversal patterns. Anyway, this is where it broke out way back in February. It has come back all the way 111. Doesn't look anything exciting to me, except just be aware that this 200-day, when it finally got and stayed above the 200-day, the 200-day was able to move higher. This was the August 5th. Everything looks like this dramatically, right? And then it got defended. Test again, you tag it again, then you break it. So the fact that it has broken definitively all the way back down to 110, which is where it broke out, where it had a prior high back in December, of 2023 is one for continued weakness. But look at that 200. It still has to flatten out and roll over. So it wouldn't surprise me if it starts to get defended in this area. Would not surprise me. Big bullish engulfing, follow through above the 200, pull back to the 8-day. Yeah. 106.83 wouldn't surprise me. That is gap fill. 109. So 109.67 is where it's headed. So if you're looking to cover, I don't know, this is the gap fill from when it literally moved higher. So I would say that that's going to fill first before it's safe. Oopla. My God, there's another gap. No. Low of 104.64. High of 104.37. There's another gap. All right, never mind. 104.37. That is what I see. 104.37 is the gap I would go for. Electronic components, I'm not so familiar. VHI trying to get defended at that level. We already talked about it. GLW extended, but gorgeous continuation swing, really gorgeous. JBI, not so much. Basic materials sector, just don't know this one at all. No, don't know. Let me go look at basic building materials. Hold on. We've got train and car. Car came back to support. CRH is the one that I mentioned yesterday. They are out of the way for earnings. Looks fabulous. That's a trend long recommendation. JCI, Johnson Controls, also trying to push higher. So the large ones are doing much better. Building Material, Martin Marietti, Vulcan. Everyone needs concrete. So BLDR, however, did a complete reversal back down to 170. Let's see this digest here. They can be dramatic. I don't want this to turn into a get and stay below the 100, then it's done. But for right now, these are 10-week tags. It's not so dramatic. Okay. JetBlue, not interested. Has something probably to do with everything fell apart. The wheels fell off the plane kind of thing. Masco had earnings this morning. It's also coming back down to the 10-week. So this trend is still, I like the building material plays as trend longs, not swing, not chase. McDonald's is holding that 290 until it doesn't. And Pfizer had earnings, so It's just getting sold again. I just don't trust that one. Oil and gas refining plays, already mentioned. BP announced terrible profits, and there's been no trigger, even support yet in Valero or PBF. Sad but true. PayPal getting defended, but I don't think it's done. I think it's, it's gonna come down here in that 76 area, most likely. Tim's favorite REIT, RITM, getting supported at the 100-week. SoFi. They are pre-earnings, pre-market, and this had already shot up like hot fire, very extended from the mean, big shake and bake, lots of premiums sold, I'm going to assume on this one. But big picture, it's got to break this 21, right? This 21 day and or the 10-10. So that's just 21 days, 975. That's weekly support. And so far it got defended. Don't really have a feel for that one either. Stanley Black & Decker, THC, that's the bigger one. THC, big hospital, well run for shareholders, getting defended at the 30-week. HCA, not so much. UFPI, they are not doing so much excitement here. This is all lumber and wood products. I had mentioned this. If we get lumber to trigger higher, we have not yet. So remember that trigger on lumber hasn't kicked in. So that's not ready. Might be a good buy here, but it's definitely lumber has not moved higher. After the close, all eyes on AMD. No idea. Curious what Rithika's count is on that one, updated. Lori. That's a plaything. CMG has earnings. I know Archana loves to play this one in the past. I'm curious, Archana, if you're playing it again. It doesn't have any edge on the technicals. It looks like it's moved right back into 60.5, which was resistance. It got above and then it dumped firmly through. Obviously got defended back here in that August 5th reflexive bounce, but it doesn't look that exciting. So not a lot of expectation on that one. Oh, DVA medical care. They report that's been in a phenomenal breakout. Pretty sure that is Alexander has written and posted about this, but this got above 140, 154 area and has just been very firmly in trend. So lots of stuff that doesn't interest me. First Solar is after the close. Don't know if they're buying or selling these 190 puts back further ahead in March. We've got also Google after the close with AMD. And I mentioned yesterday, big picture, this is the upside, 181.54, And the downside is 143.71. Would be a very nice kind of left shoulder, head, right shoulder. It's trying to move higher above not only the 200-day, but out of this Bollinger Band, but it needs a trigger, and obviously earnings are it. Hershey's trying to get supported here at 182. Mondelez reports after the close. They're usually sympathy plays. Oak, which is OKE, also reports after the close. Midstream plays, which will have an impact if you still have WMB or KMI, but specifically OKE has, in other words, they're going to tell how goes it. It'll impact Williams and Kinder Morgan. Sympathy reactions is what I mean. So protect if you don't know. Cuervo, not so interested. Yeah, no, too choppy. Reddit, really not interested, but that reports after the close. Snap, also after the close. Social media isn't really the thing. And more importantly, they follow Meta. Meta still looks pretty darn bullish. They report after the close tomorrow. So Snap today and Meta tomorrow. Visa also tomorrow. They've come back decently. Remember all the Department of Justice investigations? It held 7.273, moved back higher. Now we've got earnings we don't really know, but they will also impact MasterCard, to a lesser degree, American Express, but all three of those will probably be in play tomorrow after Visa reports. All right, so we got lots of small, medium companies reporting. Remember, it's 35% of the S&P, but the big ones are Google and, to a degree, Visa and AMD. And I'll be curious what happens with First Solar and OKE. But those are really the top ones coming in. Ford pulled, unfortunately, another dump lower. It is just going nowhere fast for quite a long time. And Boot Barn cracks me up. Was a little extended. So it's come all the way back down to the 30-week, literally where it broke out. But this is ironic. Like, I don't know. I must have thrown a fib level on here. Here. All right, so we moved all the way back up to the 127 and then rolled over back to where we broke out. It still looks very poor. Not so excited about Boot Barn. Still looks like it has room to go for that 50-week tag at 120. This is not Camping World. Camping World is CWH. Yeah, that one. All right, so Camping World reported way too thin for me. Had a really good year though. Year-over-year increase of 29%. Okay. Still not my favorite. Way too choppy. KDP, Keurig, that dumped below the 200-day. That looks headed down to 32 on a weekly. We had RCL. I don't know leg, truth be told. Way very thin options. RCL is just a freak of nature, just keeps going up, right? Must have had some massive short covering, kind of like Carvana. This is just, again, wow. All right, so Carvana has made it all the way up to this kind of 210 area where I thought it was going to be done at 167. So nope, that'd be nope. We literally closed above it and then came back to it and then continued north. RCL is kind of one of those crazy, I don't know what stocks, but guess what? It beat. So revenues in Q3 rose 17%. SWK getting a little defended at the 200-day. Prex, nothing to write home about. And we already saw VFC. VFC really did amazing on earnings. Estimate was 37 cents a share. They came in with EPS of 0.6. Revs a little bit higher, but earnings much stronger. Let's see, Sky got hit back down with all the other home builders. And Crane Company still doing well. Car on building, sorry, Crane is industrial. CRH is building materials. NE is part of utilities, and it announced it's going to sell $1.5 billion of equity. So that's one of the reasons why that's softening. FLS, however, beat on sales, but not so much earnings. They are still getting rewarded. This has been a nice play higher, has not stopped. 50-week tag breakout. It came back down too thin for me, but that space is industrials has done pretty darn well. Lots of healthcare names. TMDX reported and shares just dumped all the way back to breakout. Like literally, this is the high. Well, I'm going to get rid of that. $97.78 was the 100-week. That's also where it broke out, test, and then broke back in May. So it's unwound all of its profits for the better part of the year. Huge reversal here was a gorgeous warning. And then a bounce, but couldn't take out the prior high of that. Yep, couldn't close above it and rolled right over. Didn't see that one at all. But puts are still coming in. More likely it heads down to this 200-week area. I know it seems like a lot, but not really. This is the November 1st Fed pause in Yellen Yahtzee. Got supported at the 50-week. This is now busted. The 10 and 21 crossover was here. Did not even have a bounce from this breakout higher. It just collapsed. So that says to me, ooh, 82 coming in, very likely 60, 68, 70 coming in. Big, huge bull trap. Don't like that one at all. TMDX, complete reversal. AMKR. Also, look at that, same thing. Gorgeous reversal. Bounce was pathetic. Here's your 100-week. It's just test, 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 break. Break right down to the 200-week. And what is this? November 1st, Fed pause, Yellen Yahtzee. It's all getting rewound. What hasn't gotten rewound is the market, but lots of stocks underneath are getting unwound back to that Fed pause. Cadence came out, I thought, yesterday, no? Anyway, EPS and revenues both beat, and they raised guidance. So that's having a nice push higher. It's got work to do, but this is the 100-week. It's gotten saved many, 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 many times, which is basically this 248. It's got to get back above this, junk, and then it can be a morning star reversal. So literally the 200-day is up here. It just needs to get back up above 287. Let's call it 288. That would be the bullish vent. $200-day, however, is resistance until it isn't. Remember the Qualcomm? Still can't catch a break. Look at that 200-day. It's still just, resistance. Next time this gets above 176, it's probably because of earnings. That's Qualcomm. Also, 5 networks authorized $1 billion for their share buyback program. So they did beat on earnings and revenues and guided well, not super, but 4%. The big issue was this buyback. That's why it's happy, happy, happy. Rambus. Ooh, weak earnings and weak revenues, but it has a guide that's hot. All right, whatever. I'm not quite sure why that's so excited then, but it is. Huh. That's weird. I got nothing. All right, so they've missed on the top and the bottom line, but this is moving higher anyway. Got to stay above 48 if you're excited about that one, unless there's been some other news and I haven't seen it. All right, and then last was this SBAC reported this morning, getting hit a little bit. AMT is after hours, getting hit already. Yes, that was it. All right, so they both, SBAC is the, it's kind of like the duopoly of the cell towers, AMT and SBAC. SBAC reported AMT is selling down. AMT reports after hours. Okay. That's just a kind of a review of earnings this morning. Nokia signed a multi-year patent license agreement with HP. And okay, take a look. Dollar just came down sharply with gold and silver getting bid. Markets also like a weaker dollar intraday. Oil is still suffering and yields at least stopped at the 4.33. Market looks a little bit more constructive this morning. Definitely gold and silver are hot with dollar and yields getting very extended. Semi's not going anywhere fast, but gold and silver definitely is. VIX came back from backwardation into contango. That's bullish, right? It's got to get back above and it's bullish. Liquidity is fine. And Bitcoin is 71,802. Still bullish. And that means the growth rotation should be still bullish. Yep. All right, so nothing's changed. Hey, Alexander, good morning. Thank you for that color. So TMDX, Alexander says, margins dropped as their costs have increased. It costs a lot to maintain private aircraft, as I had previously said, although it had increased due to its initial profits achieved. Now reality is setting in. Yeah, this definitely is, I didn't know that before going over it, but we definitely have maybe a bounce into that 100, but 82 down to 68 would not surprise me at all. Oh, Eli Lilly has earnings. What? I didn't see Eli Lilly has earnings tomorrow. Hold on. Eli Lilly has earnings tomorrow. Oh, that's right. I was only doing today, but I had forgotten. I posted that chart. Yes. This is important. Alexander, any thoughts on Eli Lilly before open on Wednesday? Caterpillar, Humana, let's go over those, even though we just went over everything here. So for the most part, right? Did the ones that reported this morning, And I didn't show BP. Yes, I did show BP. Chipotle. Yeah, these are the big ones. I didn't see Chubb. All right, so let's do Chubb. I missed that one. Oh, insurance is still hot fire flames. We'll see what their impact is from the hurricane. All right, Eli Lilly. Let's see what they're doing here. We're at a crossroads as far as technical is concerned. 10 and 21 crossover. This was the August 5th. Oh my goodness, God candle. We haven't pushed above 966. We've kind of like softened, but we haven't done anything wrong. Waiting for earnings clearly. The market share is still very strongly held by Eli Lilly and Novo. They'd be in trouble under Trump, I think. But it's not going away, right? And the problem isn't going away overnight. So the 200 is still ascending. This thing looks wicked strong. It is still a trend long. From 200, it goes into some digestion periods, sometimes sharp, but this is really, it doesn't look terrible. Novo looks terrible. That's a very different structure for me. I've been warning about this Head and Shoulders. It literally has done exactly, right? Resistance, rolls over, bounce, it's resistance again. It's now double resistance, closes pathetically all the way to the 50-week, which is yellow with no bounce. I said, okay, let's see if it can get back up. It couldn't even get back up. It didn't even tag the 50-week. This thing is wicked, wicked weak. But all it needs is an Eli Lilly to say, hey, the market share is awesome, blah, 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 and Novo will have a sympathy bounce. So kind of keep that in mind if they do well, but then keep in mind you've got a potential Trump presidency with RFK, and I think this will suffer. Both will suffer, but Novo much more so. Much more so. As far as options play, there isn't really a lot coming in. So that's interesting. It's also not a real kind of option, a mecca for option traders, if truth be told. It's expensive relatively for this week. Oh goodness, the next few weeks, I should say. This is November week 1. And then you got the monthlies. There's just not a lot here. They're coming in with a little bit of expensive protection, but yeah, if you protect, it would be to this 857 area. But this is very, very important support, which is 900. I'm sorry, 800. See the red? So that was monthly. We hit it. Once we got above it, it's bullish. Literally, we fell very quickly back in July, got supported, did a ricochet rabbit. So if you're protecting, it's 800. If you're looking for just a short, 857. Caterpillar tomorrow as well. And then DVA. Yeah, we'll do that. Caterpillar has been amazing on 2 fronts. One, diversified industrials and farm manufacturing has done well. Second, the China bid did help the commodity run and the construction, right? But it is an earnings play and I've got no edge, none. I would protect down here to 365, 356. I would definitely protect into this area. I mean, that's the 10-week, which is literally, look at that. So, literally hit 382. Earnings looks good to me still, but earnings, I have no edge. Look at that gorgeous 200-day coming up. Whatever it is, I wouldn't be surprised if it comes back down to that kind of 365 area, 356, and then gets defended. Still looks pretty strong. Biogen also is tomorrow morning. It's oversold. No interest. ADP has been shockingly strong. Intuit has been sideways. ADP reports also tomorrow morning. Jake NK, no, sorry, Jinko. That's it. JKS. Reports tomorrow, no edge, too small. None, no interest. Uber reports on Thursday, pre-market. It still looks great. Hasn't even come back down to the 10-week yet. $200 still moving higher. Definitely getting chased a little bit this morning. On what news? I have no idea, because believe it or not, I haven't even looked at the news yet. And it's almost 11. So I looked at all the earnings, which is just overwhelming. Not great to have so much going on right now. So yeah, Claudia Sahm is coming out saying jobs day will likely be messier than usual with recent hurricanes and a strike weighing temporarily on payrolls. Even with solid underlying growth, the headline could look rough. Literally, she just posted that at 10:24. So that's why I'm like, wouldn't be surprised if we have some shake and bake that creates some of that reversion back here, right? Even potentially back here because of that headline. Ooh, that's not what I wanted. There we go. There we go. Jobs day will likely be messier than usual with recent hurricanes and a strike weighing temporarily on payrolls. Keyword temporarily. Even with solid underlying growth, the headline could look rough. All right, so now let's do DBA. DBA Alexander says, you got to consider it like a hospital. Provides dialysis services, will do well with Harris win, not so much with Trump win. Well, THC got bid back up fiercely, strongly. And the National House Price Index is still up 4.2% year over year in August. That's almost a 2% annual rate. So we're not doing so poorly here. That was the FHFA House Price Index. So we got some housing data that just came out. We've got the biggest risk, of course, is any surprises for TGA composition tomorrow. Jobless claims and non-farm payrolls and how the market reacts. So I would still say, I would still say with breadth, weak, but not terrible. The reversion to the mean trade just means be aware that we could get some shake and bake. And if so, this will continue to roll over, which is breadth. Breadth will break down a little bit. And if AI in any way disappoints with Google and the like, then we could also have kind of reversion to the mean. Right now, it doesn't look like it. Looks pretty bullish. Qs are still green. Look, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks in a row. And now we're in the throes of the beginning of the next week. Still looks contained. Look at that. That's support, 494. And then 498 is resistance. We get above, it's bullish. It's not even coming back down to gap fill. But I would say it still has the chance of doing that this week if we get some surprise QRA, Google, etc. All right. I don't see anything else than what I've already gone over. Protect that PayPal to 76. GLW. Congrats, Longs. AG, congrats, Brian. Silver, gold, still in play. Bitcoin and proxies still in play. Slowly but surely. XLP, XLV still rolling over. And now finally XLU. It took a while, right? It really, really, really did. And then, of course, last but not least, TLT. We have to wait for it to stop going down. And that means we have to wait for the 10-year to stop going up. And I think at some point they will defend the bonds, right? Which right now are on the floor. They will come in and do something to defend. I would not be surprised if now we're at that level, right? We got a 4.336, and I've got 4.33, 4.36. It hasn't even come in yet. 4.324, 4.333. So we got lots of levels here, 4.32. Doesn't matter. We're all in now at the thick of it. I would really expect Yellen to come in and do something to help defend the bond bulls from falling over. They do not want that. Yeah, and the same thing with the 30-year. We're right up to that 4.57. So 10-year and 30-year look identical to me, but they have not slowed. What would be ideal is if we kind of slow now into this channel. Yep, slow now into this channel, come back down to 4.2. That's what I would be looking for next. Run into earnings. Twilio also. Google and Twilio look a little excited with XLK, and even semis are doing okay. Mars taking a little break. It's having a tough time getting above 1888. Then it moves into 22, and then it's really not bullish until it can get and stay above 22. Target, not so much. This lumber hasn't triggered. Refiners are still selling off. I don't have any support bounce yet in farm products, manufacturer BG, just sitting there. ANF, same thing. Look at that. It's just sitting on that trend line. Just going over a few other alerts that came in, but nothing big. We do not have anything more than shake and bake in volatility land. Goes to backwardation, then quickly flips into contango. So there's nothing on my ratio. We have definitely extended yields, which should start to revert. We also have a heck of a tussle here on Apple into earnings, as it just comes up to all the prior highs and stops cold. So we need earnings to kind of push it one way or the other. I'm not interested in Disney, but it is above the 10 and 21. I will give it that. Yeah, no. No. Intel and Qualcomm are both biding their time sideways. Zero interest. There's no momentum in that stuff. They're all going over to Bitcoin. And that TMDX, having a heck of a time getting any mojo. All right, I got a thing at I don't even know when it is. 1:30 at 1 something. I'll be in the Chase live huddle with Hans at 2. And we'll go over options, education, and trade setups. And right now, he's got one for Meta that he'll update coin as well. But like I said, Tesla for me, that was it. It had to just, that was way too much. 271, it's already come back down. So, and NVIDIA, I don't think is done. That's for December. So I'm still waiting. All right. I wish you a great afternoon. There wasn't anything in the, what do you call it? The currency mix that had much interest as the dollar yuan and dollar yen continue to move higher, which means the yen, the yuan, and US bonds lower. Euro hasn't gotten any bid yet, but it's digesting sideways into the election. And I believe it would get bid on a Trump win. Otherwise, it's heading back down to this 107. Nice job. Bro is an insurance broker. It's still pushing higher. And SPY is still green. All right. I think that's it. No, I missed one. Hi, Andre. Not yet. Healthcare plan CNC. I would wait until this stops going down. It literally got sold off violently this morning. So there's definitely no support here on this one until it can get back above the 400 week. It probably stays here for a few weeks at the 63 level. Doesn't look bullish yet. By the way, Eli Lilly, they have an approval for their Alzheimer's drug. So, and still have a great obesity medicine on the market. Where they could cut guidance is if they have manufacturing issues or problems with their reimbursement for their obesity drugs. This is from Alexander to give color on the Eli Lilly earnings for tomorrow. They could counter that with new announcements for their obesity program. By the way, obesity week is next week, right? And that would also help counter some of the Viking announcements. Viking is the kind of quote unquote better product, but younger and less well supported, sponsored solution and company needs a suitor, needs money. Basically, I had Alexander says, I have no edge, but I am long into earnings as I think the company is a strong long-term player. And he's talking about Eli Lilly. And I would agree. All right. I wish you all a great afternoon. So sorry about the stupid mic problems, my operator error. Rubric, I know nothing about. Congrats. I think Nelson's playing that one long. I have nothing there. It's too new. Too new. IPOs are pretty speculative and no price data. So they're easily moved around. And Reddit continues to push higher and lots of bullish flow according to Archna. DPZ, she is looking at it as a short. And JBL, how will contract manufacturers like JBL do? They're good question. I still think that this is better now that it's come up off the 400, sorry, off the 100 week, but it's got work to do. It's got to get back above 129. It's trying to hold the 200 and flat line so it can move higher, but that's going to be a while. Don't know how that's going to do under Trump. Okay, cheers. Yeah, you said that RBRK and RDDT are new IPOs and they're pretty bullish trading flow. Very speculative though. It be true. Anyway, that's it. Hedges still in play for reversion. Otherwise, I'm not, like I said, I'm not bearish. I can't be bearish. And do read my write-up if you get a chance. I've got all kinds of stuff in here, something for everybody. Quant speak, seasonality. And then, of course, reversion to the mean. And more importantly, I think yields. I think we're done going up for this section until FOMC. Let's see if they can defend some bond bulls. Okay, cheers, bye.